Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build a very simple, cheap, and efficient Hoglin farm in your Bedrock Edition worlds. The Hoglin farm is really the simplest and best source of food that you can get in the game. Building one of these will ensure that you never starve again in your Minecraft world, and honestly they are so easy and so cheap to throw together that you may as well build one of these and just never worry about food again. Honestly, it's a pretty awesome little farm, and I think you guys will enjoy it. The farm before you here will produce up to 1,400 drops per hour, and that is a lot of food and a lot of leather. Certainly way more than one player will ever need, and probably enough for an entire server. So let's go over some details of this farm and check it out a little bit closer, shall we? So as you can see before you here, we've built the entire farm above a lava lake and a crimson forest biome, and this will give us the best rates. We won't need to build any form of perimeter around the farm. It's really just a straightforward place to build it, and you might have to wipe out like a little bit of netherrack, but honestly you shouldn't have to do any form of conditioning to the area around the farm. So before you here, we have a double layered farm. This will of course give you better rates, but you can just build a single layer if you feel like it. The basic mechanics of this platform is that basically only hoglins will be able to spawn inside of this farm. They'll be scared away by the warped funguses that we have all the way around the edges of the farm, and then because of that scaredness, they will basically just walk right off of these platforms directly into the kill chamber, and that's really all there is to it. They will then die on some campfires, drop their loot, and that'll go into your collection system. It's really the most straightforward thing in the world. And as you can see, we're getting ourselves a bunch of leather and a bunch of raw pork chops as well. And by the way, the reason why we're using trapdoors on the ceiling is because zombie piglin and piglins cannot spawn if there's trapdoors in the ceiling. However, hoglins can, and they'll spawn in there just fine. So using trapdoors is a very straightforward way of making this a hoglin only farm. And then of course, item collection is just down here, and as you can see, you get a whole ton of drops from these cute little pig guys. So there's a couple different reasons why this farm gives you raw pork chops instead of cooked pork chops, and that is due to some bugs and some quirky mechanics that we'll talk about here in a second. However, it's actually kind of a good thing that it gives you raw pork chops because of the experience that you get from smelting them. Raw meats give you a really high amount of experience when you smelt them down. I've made a whole video about this. It's actually a really good source of experience, especially if you smelt them down in a smoker. And of course, there is just like a ton of lava everywhere in the Nether, so you don't need to worry about fuel. So it's basically kind of an indirect experience farm if you smelt down everything that you get from it. So the full farm over here only gives you 1,400 drops per hour, and it could be a lot higher if there was a couple of bug fixes. The first bug is that magma blocks, soul campfires, normal campfires, soul fire, and fire all do the exact same amount of damage, so no matter how you kill your hoglins, they're all gonna die at the exact same speed. Normally, out of all of these guys, the soul campfires and the soul fire would kill the hoglins the quickest, and that would be super ideal for this farm. The quicker you kill the mobs in your farm, the less time they're in the mob cap taking it up, and the more mobs can spawn the quicker, giving you better rates. So that would be really nice. However, there's just no good quick way to kill the hoglins. But Silent, why don't you use lava? Because there's other bugs and other issues. So the thing about lava is that hoglins can actually float in it when they're panicked trying to run away from the warped fungi. As you can see, if you just drop them in there, they just sink through lava, which is the intended mechanic. They should not be able to swim in lava or float in it. So you can drop them in there directly all day long, and that's really cool and really convenient. However, if they're scared of a fungi, like if they spawn next to one and then start running away from it, then they're gonna bounce up and down in the lava, basically dropping all the drops directly into the lava, so you don't get anything from them. We can test this out over on Java Edition, and as you can see, yeah, they don't do that on Java Edition. This is a thing that definitely needs to be fixed. It is not an intended behavior. They should never be able to swim in lava. They should always just sink right on through it. So overall, if either of these two bugs were fixed, we would have far more efficient Hoglin farms, as we would be able to kill the Hoglins much quicker, allowing them to respawn quicker, basically giving you a lot more drops per hour. So bug report links for both of these issues will be down in the description of the video. You can upvote them. So let's hop into the tutorial, shall we? There's going to be a full materials list for this build down in the description of the video, and there's also going to be a world download for this farm down there as well, for those of you who want to check this out on your own and experiment with it and test around with it, or just see if it works in a future update. Also, if there's ever any updates to this farm, of course the pinned comment and the description will be updated to include the most relevant information. And with all that stuff out of the way, let's hop into it. First thing is first, when it comes to building a Hoglin farm in your world, location is absolutely key. You must build this farm over a large lava ocean. That is going to save you dozens of hours of spawn proofing and perimeter making, and it is very important, absolutely necessary, that you build this in a crimson forest biome. So ideally what you need to do is you need to go explore until you find one of these crimson forest biomes with these crimson fungi tree thingies, and then you need to find a large lava lake attached to that. Now, the easiest way to tell if it's still a crimson forest biome is these red particles that are floating throughout the air. If you're standing in a crimson forest biome, you will have these red particles. As you can see, everywhere above this lava ocean has these red particles, meaning that the entirety of this lava ocean is a crimson forest biome, which is exactly what you want. If we go too far in this direction, for example, you'll see that those particles go away, and that means that we're no longer in a crimson forest, so no Hoglins are going to spawn over here. So go exploring, find yourself a nice lava ocean attached to a crimson forest, build out, pillar around, and make sure that everywhere in your build area is the crimson forest. If you don't see any particles, like at all, when you're definitely in a crimson forest biome, that is likely due to a texture pack that you have on, or maybe on the server that you play on, that removes potion particles. So make sure that you either can turn off that pack, or that it's updated for 1.16, that way you can see these particles. Now, also, just a word of safety warning advice: have fire resistance potions on your hotbar. You're going to be building over a massive lava lake. There's going to be piglins riding striders, and that's random. Gas, there's going to be magma cubes, there's going to be all kinds of things that want to kill you, so make sure you got some fire res on. And now we are ready to actually get building, finally. So the first thing that we're going to do is mark out 4 different platforms. We're going to have the very bottom platform of the farm, where you have item collection and possibly some super smelting, the first 2 layers of our spawning platforms, and then our AFK platform all the way up at the top of the farm. So your lava lake should be at Y32 when you're standing right above it, and that is pretty much normal. And that means that the very bottom platform, when you're standing on top of it, is going to be at Y53. The bottom spawning layer is going to be at Y59. The top spawning layer is going to be at Y62. And then your AFK platform is going to be all the way up here at Y86. So you want to build the little markers for this, like how I have right in the center of your lava lake. That way you don't really need to worry about chipping away parts of the nether or any spawnable spaces, and basically just build this as far away from land as you can while still having lots of crimson forest biome around you. Make sure that when you install your marker blocks, they are in a 2x2, because the center of this farm is going to be a 2x2. Now what we need to do is we need to extend out this platform 21 blocks in every direction. You can build this farm out of upper half slabs if you feel like it, so that's what I'm going to be doing. It saves you a lot of resources. Anyway, we now need to extend this out 21 blocks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Of course, do this on all 4 sides of your build, and then go ahead and connect up the corners as well. well, and fill in all of the slabs in between them. And that'll give you a very large 44 by 44 platform. Of course, as you're building this platform, make sure you're seeing your red particles. That way you know you're still within a crimson forest biome. And now that our 44 by 44 platform is installed, we're going to go ahead and build up this thing as quickly as possible. That way you don't get attacked too much while building it. So around your center 2x2, we're going to install a full ring of nylium. This can be any kind of nylium as long as you can plant a warped fungus on it, like so. And now that you have that little ring in place, we're going to go out 8 blocks in every direction with some glass from the corners. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you want to make that 2 blocks tall. So do that on all 4 corners. Now that we have our little X installed, we're going to go ahead and plant in the warped fungus. That way it'll scare any of the hoglins that spawn, and make sure to put a bar of glass right on top of each one of those little funguses, just like so. And now that you have that installed, we're going to go out to the outer edges of this, and basically wherever your glass pillar ends, you need to mine out 2 blocks around this, and this is going to be the little drop chute for all of your hoglins to fall down. So if we mine this out going all the way around, you'll see that the farm is already taking shape. And now we need to replace the inner and outer edges of these platforms with solid blocks. So basically this line of blocks right there and this line of blocks. So there's 2 ways of doing this. You can either rip out all of these slabs and then put them in with solid blocks and do that on this edge as well. Or if you have a large safety platform down below, you can actually just double stack these slabs and then it'll be done. Or if you built the entire platform out of solid blocks, like a big brain, then you don't need to do anything painful. Either way, make sure the inner and outer edge of this ring are solid blocks, so that way we can place buttons on the sides of them. And I'm sure you know the next step. Go ahead and place buttons all the way along the inner edge of this ring and all the way along the outer edge of it as well. Buttons act as full blocks to mobs, so the hoglins will basically go ahead and walk right over them, thinking there's a floor there, and basically fall right into your kill chamber. Now the inner platform is mostly done, we're going to start installing some guide walls on the outer edges. That is basically what these glass walls are. It's basically just a guide wall to make sure the hoglins go into the kill chamber as fast as possible. That way they don't go walk around in circles and waste time. It kind of just helps them guide into the kill chamber. So on all 4 of the main corners, like this little area right here, you want to go over by 5 blocks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5th block you need to install a guide wall. This is going to go basically all the way back to there and make that, of course, 2 blocks tall. We need to do this on this side as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then make yourself a guide wall. And of course, do this on all 4 corners. Now it's time to install more nylium and warped funguses. So you're basically just going to go 1 block in from the very edge of the platform, mine out all these blocks except the ones underneath your guide walls, and then of course replace these with your nylium. And then of course, once you have the nylium in place, go ahead and put some warped funguses on top of those, and you're pretty much done. Of course, do that going all the way around the entire platform. Once you have all of your warped funguses installed, you need to go ahead and put a border wall of glass all the way along the outer edge of the platform, and then of course put glass on top of all of the funguses as well, going all the way around the farm. And there you go, the first layer of your farm is now pretty much completely done. As you can see, that did not take very long to build and is honestly extremely simple. So now, no matter where a hoglin spawns inside of your farm, they're going to get scared by your warped funguses, and then they will basically walk right into the lava. Very simple, very straightforward. Now what you need to do from here upwards is to install all of the trapdoors. These trapdoors need to be right at head height, so basically right off the side of that glass. And probably the easiest trapdoor for you to get in mass is going to be the spruce trapdoor, but any kind of trapdoor will work. So basically just put them right above everywhere. And that'll be all there is to it. And this is what the farm will look like after you have installed all of the trapdoors. As you can see, it is a lot of trapdoors, but it is absolutely necessary to make it so that only hoglins spawn inside of your farm. If you don't install the trapdoors, you're going to get a bunch of piglins and zombified piglins, and they're basically just going to stand around filling up your mob cap and not dying and not getting scared by your funguses. So that is exactly how you build one spawning platform to this farm. If you want to just have one, then perfect, you are completely done. But if you want to have a second one, then you just repeat every single thing that we already did, but starting at this layer right here. So you'd go 21 blocks out to make your 44 block platform of slabs right here. So the rates for just a single layer is 1180 or so drops per hour, and then a double layer farm is about 1340 drops per hour. So as you can see, that is what the farm looks like with 2 layers. So now that we have either 1 or 2 platforms of our farm built, it is time to focus on the kill chambers. Now there's actually 2 different kill chambers that work as of 1.16.1, and I'll be showing you how to build both of those. One of them is very expensive and uses a ton of campfires, but that does get you over 1400 drops per hour, and the other one is significantly cheaper and doesn't use as many campfires, and that one gets you about 1380 drops per hour. Honestly, it's about 100 drops per hour difference between the 2 versions. I would suggest just using the cheaper one because there's so many bugs with the kill chambers anyway. You can upgrade to a better one in the future once the bugs are fixed. I'll show you how to build the simple and the cheap kill chamber first, and this one basically is just a few different lines down here at the bottom with the warped funguses, and that scares them into one of 4 different kill chambers. So go to one of your corners and you're going to need to pillar down by a block and then install a little 2x2 out of glass right here in the corner, and this is going to be the very start of your little runways. So in total, this little runway needs to go 8 blocks in each direction, so that's already 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to fill that in as well, and then it needs to go 8 blocks in this direction, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of course, fill in these blocks as well. Don't forget to fill in the walls with some blocks. It doesn't really matter what you use to fill in the walls. And then in the corners, we need to go ahead and install our nylium and then our 4 warped funguses like so. Surround these things in some solid blocks and then put some glass on those solid blocks as well. The solid blocks is there because sometimes you'll have guys glitch into here and then glitch out and fall down. And if you put the solid blocks there, the hoglins will stay inside the farm. You won't have any guys fall out. So make sure you put those solid blocks there. Anyway, once you have one corner done, you need to do this in all 4 corners of the farm. To install the simple kill chamber between your 2 little hallways, you need to build a wall on the backside going downwards by 4 blocks. And of course, you need to also build this wall on the front side as well. This is going to contain all of your hoglins and also make it easy to put in all of the campfires. So there is this wall on the front side. It is a lot of blocks to place. And then we need to go on the inside of this real quick and place buttons all along this layer. This is going to make all the hoglins actually fall into your kill chamber. And then we need to have another layer of buttons right here as well. And that is to reduce the smoke from the campfires. The buttons actually act as full blocks to the campfires as well, so they don't produce smoke, unlike if there wasn't a button. So clever little trick for you. Anyway, basically go ahead and install campfires all along the bottom of this thing. And then of course we need to install some walls on the sides as well. That way none of the items fly out. Now go ahead and put yourself in a double chest here in the front, and then just go ahead and run hoppers into it underneath all of your campfires. If you don't want to use this many hoppers, you can also use a hopper minecart and a little rail line, but that is up to you. And there you go, your kill chamber is now done. Build one of those on all 4 sides. And this is the faster kill chamber. As you can see, it's basically just a whole lot of campfires going all the way around, and then that kills the hoglins a little bit faster, and building this kind of kill chamber will gain you about an extra 100 drops per hour. I personally don't really think it's worth it, and I don't expect many of you to build it, so we're not going to be doing a block by block tutorial for it. It would be a lot more worth it if the campfires actually did the correct amount of damage, because then you'd probably see like a 200 or 300 drop increase per hour. But then again, lava. If that worked, we would just be using that. So there's not very many circumstances where you'd actually build something with this many campfires. But I guess if you do want to build it, you got to go down 2 blocks from the bottom layer of your spawning platform, install the campfires, make sure there's 2 layers of buttons above the campfires to prevent the smoke, and then simply have a layer of rails underneath the thing with a hopper minecart, and then just a basic minecart unloader, and that is all there is to it. So this is what it should look like when you have yourself 4 of the basic kill chamber installed. I would highly suggest that you put in like a full proper floor down here and probably some walls as well. That way it's not like one step away to death whenever you're trying to collect your drops. You can do pretty much anything that you want down here, just make sure that it's spawn proof, that way you don't have any hoglins or other mobs spawning in your collection area. And then the easy way up to your AFK spot is just through the 2x2 in the center of the farm. You can actually just put like a twisting vine or a ladder or whatever you like going up through the center of the farm, going all the way up to your AFK spot. And then basically as soon as you get up here, you'll get yourself a bunch of hoglins and you'll get yourself a bunch of loot pretty quickly. And that's all there is to building yourself a simple and easy hoglin farm in your Bedrock Edition world. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, then of course let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always trying to help you guys out as best as I possibly can. Also, if you did enjoy this video, then make sure to leave a like. It really does help out the video and the channel a ton. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you catch the future Bedrock tutorials that I release. I have a ton of tutorials on the channel, and I have a lot more in the pipeline as well, so you can expect to see those very, very soon. And otherwise, I will see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and then there was silence.